Hi, going to call to order the regular meeting of the Ventura County Air Pollution Control Board on this December 9th beautiful day. Could we please have the roll call?
Board Member Bennett. Board Member Foy. Board Member Long. Here. Board Member Morgan.
Here.
Board Member Pollock.
Here.
Board Member Ramirez.
Here.
Board Member Sharkey.
Present.
Board Member Tucker.
Present.
Board Member Zaragoza.
Here.
And Board Member Parks.
Here, thank you. And let's go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Supervisor Zaragoza, you want to lead us?
Please follow me. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now we have before us as the minutes of our meeting from September 9th. Is there a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion from Board
many
Member
motions.
Ramirez, second from Board Member Tucker, I guess. No objections or abstentions? We'll go ahead and deem those unanimously approved then. Our next item on the agenda is agenda review. Are there any requests to change the agenda or any revisions to the agenda that we need to look at? Not seeing any. We'll go ahead then to item 6, which is public comment. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak during our public comment section of the meeting? Looks like we might have. Nope, almost. Gosh.
She's from Gullwing. She's going to talk later.
Okay. All right. So no members of the public during public comment. How about board comments? Are there any members of the board who
Hi.
have any comments to share?
I do.
Yes.
I just would like to congratulate Supervising Inspector Eric Weatherby, who received California Air Pollution Control Officers Association's Rodney Schwartzendruber Outstanding Inspector Award. He's not in the audience, is he? Oh, he is. Great. I don't know if I'm stealing someone's thunder, but thank you for what you do. I thought it should be acknowledged in this proceeding. Thank you.
Excellent. Congratulations. Glad you're here. Do we have any other board comments? Not seeing any then. We'll go to our consent agenda items 9 through 10, and that's the appointment of 2 individuals.
Move the approval of the consent calendar.
A motion and a second. Are there any objections to the motion? Not seeing any. We'll call that unanimously approved also and go to our regular agenda item. Our first one is number 11 about the donation of some filter-based PM25 samplers that we don't need.
That's correct. All of the district's monitoring sites for particulate matter have been upgraded. This includes El Rio at Rio Mesa High School, Piru, Ojai, Simi Valley at Simi Valley High School, and Thousand Oaks at Thousand Oaks High School. They've all been upgraded from a filter-based system, which basically ran every third day and required district staff to go out to install the filter, retrieve the filter, and then have the filter weighed, to a continuous monitor that gives us results at the end of each hour. This new monitoring equipment has several advantages. First, we can post this hourly data on the internet and the public has access to it. Second, we have real-time data on which to make air quality advisory announcements. This is especially critical during wildfire events. And lastly, there's less work to actually maintain the new monitoring system than there was with the old particulate system that ran on filters. Because we have this newer equipment, and this equipment was actually procured in part with EPA grant funds, EPA has encouraged us to donate the equipment to other districts in California. We're proposing to donate it to the San Diego County APCD and Great Basin Unified APCD. I'll be happy to take questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
I can see the Great Basin one, but does San Diego have very much of a pollution problem? Are they? Are they?
They're actually, I know they're non-attainment for. I haven't checked their PM 2.5 status. I know they're non-attainment for ozone,
Okay.
although they don't have quite as severe a problem with ozone as Ventura County does.
The only reason I ask that question is I guess they take lesser equipment than we're doing because they're not as strongly affected as we are.
It could be.
I know that from SCAG, the point has been made about San Diego that they get pollution from over the border.
Oh, okay.
The trucks there don't have as
Well, what I meant to
strong
say
of
is that
requirements.
we're going to be more up to date than they are on our measuring equipment. And I thought San Diego would be, but that's okay. Good, they can use it.
If there's a wildfire and the power somehow goes out, is there a way that we can have some agreements in place for use of generators that might already be at the facilities where these are located?
That is a problem, and I'm not sure if a diesel generator near the monitoring station might skew things in and of itself.
Maybe at the schools, for example?
Yes, and that might be another issue. But I'm going to actually talk to your board in January about some emerging issues, especially dealing with low-cost particulate monitors. And they may be a solution to this type of problem.
Because I have a memory of one not being functional during
That's
the
right.
wildfire.
Peru went down during a
Santa
wildfire in
Susana.
that region.
Okay, so that's something we'll be looking at, having a
Absolutely.
backup for that. Because it's important to have that information at those emergency times, too. Okay, so I think we had a motion and a second, correct, on that one? No? Well, let's go ahead and get one then.
I'll move the approval of
Okay.
the staff's recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion and a second again from the seconder over to my left, Mr. Tucker. Are there any objections to the motion? Not seeing any. We'll say that's approved unanimously and go to item 12. And this is regarding a grant agreement with Oak Park Unified.
Chair Parks, members of the board, Stan Cowan, Air Quality Engineer. Back in 2011, your board voted to have the Ventura County APCD participate in the California Alternative Renewable Fuel and Vehicle Technology Program in order to promote electric vehicle readiness along the Central Coast. Since then, Ventura County has acted as a lead agency to promote the use of electric vehicle charging stations, and we have DMV funds that are eligible for that purpose. This past January, we had an award for Oak Park School District in the amount of $13,400 for 2 Level 2 EV charging stations, one at Medea Creek Middle School and one at their district office. And the current proposal is to give them an award for 2 additional stations at Oak Park High School. The amount of the grant is $14,368, and that only pays for the equipment cost. Oak Park School District will pay or for the installation, maintenance, and operation, and they have agreed to work with another partner, Green Charge Network, who are installing a battery energy storage system which will reduce their peak electricity demand costs. And so they're going to provide free installation of the charging equipment, and in turn they get 75% of the cost savings from that battery storage system. And so that's the proposal. There's also a grant agreement that has to be approved by our executive officer, so you need to authorize that approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions about the project.
Mr. Pollack?
Is there going to be any charge for using the chargers, and if so, where does that money go, and who pays the cost of the electricity?
These are charge points, so there is a fee for users. I think it's normally $1 or $2 an hour is the normal cost. And so, yes, and they're publicly accessible units as well.
But then does the school district pay for the actual cost of the electricity, or does ChargePoint
No,
bear that cost?
the school does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does ChargePoint share the revenue with the school district?
Yeah, I think there's a revenue sharing.
Thank you.
And you're Mayor Pro Tem now, is that right? No, council member. I'm going to keep these straight. Every reorganization. You're Mayor Pro Tem. And you're mayor. Congratulations, right?
No, I'm vice mayor.
Oh, he's I give up. Board member.
You're talking a bunch of vice mayor. Anyway,
Overall vice, though.
you must have some success with the ones that were there before to then to want more.
Right, exactly.
That's what you look for.
And actually, the one at Camarillo is going in April, I believe, at the MetroLink station.
Right.
That we've been hoping, we've been waiting about a year now, but they're finally going to do it. So,
Great.
What kind of advertisement are you going to have so people know it's coming, that's there?
we can put out a press release. I think that's a good idea.
Can I make another suggestion?
Yeah.
A lot of people take the railroad, goes down south, all that good stuff. but you also have tons of students. I mean, that place is full. If you could put out, I don't care what's on their windshield or whatever, that there's people use that place, it might be good to do something like that instead of just, not everybody reads the paper,
Right,
but put some sort of,
Or signage.
yeah,
Fine.
signs, anything.
yeah.
So,
Uh,
that's all.
Board Member Ramirez?
Thank you. Not to belabor the point, but there's been some issues with the vendor that has been used in Oxnard. I think you're aware of it, right?
Right.
Will we have the same kind of issues with these machines?
In the city of Oxnard, yeah. But I guess you extended your pilot program, I heard, for another year with no
charge.
no charge,
And
yeah.
the questions have been raised about prepaying, and you can't get your money back if you don't need it for that time, and then the space is taken up by a vehicle when it's not charging, and the placement of the charging stations actually discourages other users. It's up
Yeah.
against the wall instead of where four could attach. So will we have these same issues here? I think?
Hope not.
So you'll work on that and make sure
Yeah.
we don't. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And it does kind of bring up the idea of some kind of recommended protocol on some of these. I was thinking too, I've had complaints from some that have a hike in the cost to charge at some facilities. But it'd be interesting to have some information available both for the users of the stations, here's where they are and here's how much they're all charging, as well as for the the people who are providing the facility, so they can see what others are doing and some recommended location factors. And
Exactly.
it seems like a nice.
Yeah,
little-
I think there's a website now, recargo.com, has some of that information already on it.
Maybe we can provide that to the users and
Okay.
also to the facilities, as recommended protocols, and also that I think what you were referring to is you can look up online where charging stations are, right?
Right.
Man, act like a salesman.
Like I said.
We got to sell this. We can't just act like a government entity now. We got to act like a salesman to make sure it's used and it's effective.
Right.
All right, well, I think that completes the discussion on this item, and we have a motion. I'll go ahead and make the motion. It's my district
Second.
park. Thank you. Motion second. Any objections to the motion? Okay, then we'll go ahead and deem that unanimously approved and go right on to item 13, which is the authorization of our air pollution control officer to execute a MOU with Gull Wings.
Yes, thank
And
you.
I do know we have one speaker card, but we'll have the presentation first, or two.
In November of 2013, your board approved an MOU with Gull Wings for us to create an air quality exhibit at the Children's Museum. And we were looking at something engaging and interactive that would show air as a precious natural resource. And we went out with an RFP working with county purchasing, and we received 4 bids, some for some pretty well-known companies in the museum exhibit business. And we had a review committee, narrowed it down to 2 that came in and met with the committee, and we selected one for submission of the best and final proposal. Unfortunately, that vendor did not come through with the final proposal. So the RFP was canceled in July of this year, and what we're doing is we're amending the MOU, because working with district staff, our public information officer, Barbara Page, they now have a concept, an idea of how they want to move forward. So we're going to now work with a selected vendor without going back through the RFP process to implement this, and this is what the new MOU outlines. That's all I have.
Okay, and I do have a couple speaker cards, we'll go to those. From Gull Wings, I believe, yes. Amanda Hoffman-Handy.
Chairwoman Parks, members of the board, it's a pleasure to be with you this afternoon. I just wanted to speak briefly about this exhibit. I can't tell you how excited we are about putting it into the museum. It's going to be such an integral part of our STEM and environmental conservation programming. Overall, the exhibit itself, what we're hoping for, is this beautiful structure that will actually make air a tangible element that children can actually interact with. And based off of that, we're also going to develop programming in reference to air quality and how you can make a difference in different actions throughout the day. So thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you.
Wait, don't leave, don't leave.
Don't leave. Oh, questions, go. Sorry.
Just a question.
Yeah, shoot.
Have you ever been to Temecula's the museum there in Temecula that has all the interactive things the kids use?
No, sir, I have not.
Oh, if you want to get some, that's one of the best kids museums I've seen.
No, mine's the best one.
That's one of. I didn't say it was the. But if you take a little trip to see if you get some new ideas too.
Absolutely.
Temecula, in the city of Temecula, now it's 100,000 people. That little town went to huge. But they've got an old town that's got the children's museum. And it's just always had people in there because you're interacting in many different ways.
Yes, very much so. Ours is very much the same, where everything in the museum is hands-on.
Can you take a
Everything's
day?
interactive.
Can you take a day and look at something else just for fun?
Absolutely. I
You
can
can
do
always
that.
improve some.
Yes, we can. There's always
Okay.
room for improvement.
Thank you. The next speaker is John Chambers. Oh, I'm sorry, Julia, excuse me. And then also from, I was looking around, where is
Good afternoon, Chairwoman
Maritime
Parks,
Museum.
board members. I have a few hats I wear in the community, and today my Gull Wings board president hat is on. So glad to see you here today, and just had a few points that echo what Amanda and Mike have already said. I was fortunate enough to be part of the selection process, where we tried to select someone, I should say. I admired the process. It was very well done, except the result wasn't quite productive. We had the two groups that came in just didn't express the wonder that we're trying to create. And so when we asked the one group to come back with that could have possibly maybe done something, and they didn't respond, we took that as a sign, I think. And with the disappointment, we were able to perhaps think of other ways we wanted to do, as Amanda said, to allow children to interact. We have such great plans for this museum and for all of Ventura County to enjoy. And that incredible wonderland that we want to create, I think we can do with a revised MOU and just move forward and make something great happen here in Ventura County. So that was it. We just left for this process to go forward and extend it so that we can continue this great idea that we started quite a few months ago. Thank you. Any questions?
Next year, I'm going to ask you if you went, just take a look,
Oh, at Temecula.
because you'll be surprised. I mean, I'm not going to let it go. She sounds like, we got the best, we don't care. But I want you to, it's always good to look.
Board Member Morgan, I'll let you know on a secret. I have 3 sons, and that is our hobby. I drag them to children's museums
You'll
all
love it.
over the country.
You'll love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Board Member Ramirez?
Thank you, and I'll just add a voice of support for this and for Gull Wings and what you do for our Oxnard community and beyond Oxnard. So I'd like to ask you to come back when the exhibit's complete, give us more information, and always invite people. We're always going to invite people.
Yeah, we could hold the board meeting there.
May we invite you to the opening of the exhibit?
I'd love to
That
come
would
see what
be-
you've
Great
done.
idea.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'll second that.
Okay.
All right.
Julie does a good job.
We do have, if not the best, one of the best children's museums
I haven't
in
been
the
there
world.
since I had the little kids.
Did you? Okay, time to go back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we have a motion and a second
Second.
from Supervisor Zaragoza. And any objections to the motion? That is also approved unanimously. Thank you. And our next item then is going on to item 14. And this is with the fiscal year and financial report.
Yes, I'm presenting the district's unaudited financial status report for fiscal year 2013-14. I'm very pleased to let your board know that the district is showing a net savings of just over $1 million for the fiscal year. This was due to deferred purchases, salary savings, reduced operating costs, and we did have a receipt of a portion of our federal grant, which actually came in early. So that was $201,000, so really we need to back that amount out. And in reality, we had real savings of $800,000, which is quite remarkable when you look back to the budget, where we actually were projecting a deficit of $244,000. So we've done a lot there by curtailing our services and supplies, keeping equipment online, just through hard work, and the fact that we, on the salaries and savings side, we deferred filling a vacant position, so we had significant savings there, and I'm going to be talking to the standing committee on maybe making those savings run further out into the future. I'm going to return to your board with a comprehensive financial report as soon as our auditors complete their audit. As you're aware, our district has a full audit every year because we are the recipient of a federal grant via the US EPA. Lastly, we also received funds to administer our pass-through grants, and the numbers there always they're basically work out to zero because your expenditures are always offset by funding of an equal amount. So revenue and expenditures are always equal. So on the pass-through account, there's no net savings or deficit. That's all I have. I'll be happy to take questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
I don't know how much
comments?
better he can get.
I know.
I mean, every time I turn around, Mike's surprising us with saving us money, and we've got to have the best run group around, air board around, because you're doing such a great job, Mike.
Well, I thank you, and it's the staff that supports me. When you really look at the size of our agency, we're equivalent to Santa Barbara within one employee, but our population is probably not quite double, but close to, and we have 1,400 facilities on permit. But we've got an excellent staff. They're extremely, we haven't had turnover, so
Yes.
I think our newest employee is about 15 years tenure with the district, so everyone knows their job so well. And obviously, succession planning is going to be quite a challenge.
Very well-honed staff. They know what
Yes.
they're doing and very experienced at doing it and efficient and with good directorship. So do we have, I guess this is just a receive and file, a motion
Yes.
to receive and file? We have a motion and a second. Are there any objections? Seeing none, that passes. And we'll go to 15, which is regarding another receive and file, this time for Air Pollution Control Officers Association Outstanding Inspector.
Yeah, I wanted to introduce you to Eric Weatherby, kind of put a face to the award.
Yes.
And if you're a district inspector, this award is kind of like the Heisman Trophy. It's as good as it's going to get for you as far as recognition. And I could tell you he's a great employee and he's got a great attitude. But I'm going to tell you a little story about what Eric's accomplished, just one. When I first started as air pollution control officer, our number one source of complaints was Helico Engineering in South Oxnard. They were just that outlier that you've had to fight tooth and nail to get them to comply with your permit. And we received a complaint on a Friday from a City of Oxnard employee saying there was smoke leaving the doors and most of the other openings in their building, and it was billowing out everywhere. Basically, Eric left a gasoline dispensing station where he's conducting inspection. He arrived quickly, went into the facility, and with his digital camera took several photos of them operating without the fume hood, the emission collection device, in place. So that's why the emissions were just leaving the building through every opening. They were not routing any of the emissions to the control devices. And we built a case for the district attorney, and the district attorney, as you're well aware, took a criminal case against Helico and actually resulted in a conviction. And all district attorney staff really wanted me to know how well Eric did on the stand during that very contentious trial. Helico was known for having very good attorneys, and they did a good job on their defense, but Eric did a great job in there. The end result was they were placed on probation, which they could not comply with. They could not comply with their emission source tests. They violated probation and were forced to shut down. That was a significant problem that was removed from South Oxnard, and now we've got a big road ahead of us with EPA to clean up that site. But at least that dross pile didn't get any bigger by them continuing to operate. So with that, I just want to thank Eric for his work, and this is one of the reasons we can get by with, I think, less staff, because we have some incredibly talented individuals in this agency.
Congratulations, well deserved. Thank you for taking the initiative. I'm sure there's other examples too of your career, so just thank you for what you've done.
Thank you very much. I'd like to actually briefly mention thank you to Dan Searcy, my manager, for nominating me for the award, and obviously the CAPCO enforcement managers for the award itself. So thank you very much.
Board Member Ramirez?
Thank you. I'll add my really personal thanks because Helico is still there, but has been shut down, and they've proven how they are not the ideal company you want, but thank you for helping us protect the health and welfare of our community. Really appreciate it. And all the other things you do.
Thank you, my
Board
pleasure.
Member Morgan, you wanted to comment too?
I just want to say, is there any news on Halico? Anything? Just keep sitting there and nothing happening.
Ask the mayor.
I'm not sure Carmen would know. Go ahead. Carmen, anything?
I know something. If you want to know if this is the appropriate time, it's just that EPA will give us their plan in a few months of projected cleanup, and Supervisor Long is on top of this, as well as Supervisor Zaragoza. And it is the community's desire to see the waste pile removed and get us onto full restoration of the Orem Beach wetlands and really clean up that jewel we have in South Oxnard, Orem Beach. So Halico is a big obstacle, and it's our hope and desire, and we're going to insist that it get cleaned up.
And Madam Chair, I want to commend Mayor Pro Tem Ramirez for an outstanding efforts in Oxnard to try to get rid of Halico. And Eric, superstar. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Definitely a
Thank you.
superstar.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you, Mike, for bringing that to our attention. Our last item on the agenda is...
Second.
Got all that? Any objection to this receive and file? Not seeing any. That passes unanimously. And the final one is receive and file an application for state subvention funds. Yes.
That's just a formality.
Okay. Do we have a motion? All right. Pick which you would like. We have a motion, a second. Any objections to that? Seeing none, that passes. We have a standing committee meeting now.
Yes, we do. It'll be
Okay.
brief, but
That's good. So upstairs then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Anyway, spoke for you. Oh, so
We are hoping that the EPA comes out with a remediation plan that